Hello and thanks for joining me again for some more landscape photography. Today I'm up in Snowdonia and I'm with my very good friend Darren Knight once again. Thank you for coming up, Darren. I always appreciate your company. And if you haven't checked out Darren's channel, I strongly recommend you do. You certainly won't be disappointed. So we're up in the mountains and we haven't made our mind up where we're going because the conditions have been really changeable this weekend. And right now we just happen to be driving past the lake at Llyn Gwynant. So this is Llyn Gwynant, and it looked absolutely fabulous. It's dead still. There's no point climbing up to any elevation because the cloud base is right down low. As you can see, it's a solid grey day, but the conditions here are just perfect for some water reflections. This as a park and shoot location on the road between Capel Curig and Beddgelert is absolutely perfect. You're right alongside the lake and it's dead easy. Now I've been working this particular scene for quite some time now and it's proving quite difficult. The problem I have is we've got a really nice selection of half submerged rocks which makes some really interesting foreground to put against the misty ethereal background where the ridge on the far side of the lake is swathed in low cloud. The problem I've got is there's too many rocks and I haven't been able to pick out a composition that isolates just one or two, and I don't want to have a whole row of rocks that lead your eye sideways out the edge of the frame. Really want something that centers the eye and then pulls you across to the ridge on the far side of the lake. I don't know how effectively I've pulled that off because short of pulling a few rocks out of the lake, I don't think I'm going to quite manage it. Now it's not a super complicated exposure because the light is really flat, which is what's working to our advantage, of course, but it does mean that we're not having too much trouble with dynamic range. There's layers of mist over the far side of the lake, but everything is a really dull grey colour, and that's just perfect for this sort of atmosphere. But from an exposure standpoint with this particular image, very straightforward. I'm shooting at f5.6 and the only filter that I need is a circular polarizer. This lovely gravel in the foreground that's all sorts of colours runs under the water and it's only about 3 or 4 inches underneath, so it just fades away into the middle of the image. But by taking the reflection off the lake, you can really see that. And in doing that, I'm still not impacting on the reflections on the far side of the lake, which of course I want to retain as part of my composition. So Darren's just down the bank here and I just heard him doing a piece to camera for his vlog where he was talking about a couple of ducks just going right through the scene where we've got some mist around a ridge on the far side of the lake. And I was taking exactly the same picture from here. Now, it's completely mid-tones. There's no highlights or shadows whatsoever, but I really hope I can make something of it. Yeah, there was somebody earlier in a red coat,
yeah.
But I thought they're far enough away I can clone them out easy enough.
Yeah.
It's funny because there's plenty to shoot, but you've still got to work at the compositions.
Yeah.
Because these stones, they're not playing ball really. I want to get out and move them around a bit.
Do you know what they was here? This is more like...
Now again, I've been working this image from a compositional standpoint. Darren and I were just chatting about how it's quite easy this morning to find compositions, and that's true. In an atmospheric location like this, on a day like this, it is. However, you still have to work really hard at getting it just right. And what I'm just about to show you is an example of me changing my mind midstream. The stones I was telling you about earlier that I couldn't get a leading line out of, I now have. By looking down the shore, they do lead you round to a tree that's in the mist with a fence line that runs out into the lake. So it's kind of classic lake composition. But what I did was I was using the line of stones, and I had them quite centered in the composition. But there's also another little group of stones, 3 of them by themselves. And I noticed as I was double checking my composition that they were right in the middle of the reflection of the trees that I want to lead your eye round to. So they were distracting and they just didn't sit right with me. And so the lesson with this particular image is to really think about what you want in your frame and where you want it. So you need to really pay attention to what you're working with and have an intention about what you have in the frame and where it is. So by coming back from the water just a little bit, raising the camera up, I've been able to run my leading line of stones from the bottom corner, which is perfectly acceptable. But what I now have is the reflection of the trees surrounded by the smaller stones in the midground of my image. And so the reflection isn't impacted adversely. Again, I'm shooting at f5.6, probably about 30 millimeters, something like that. I'm going to do a focus stack, and I'm using a circular polarizer to just cut through the water at the front of the image so we can see a bit of that lovely gravel background.
I just walked up slightly higher, so that fence that's just kind of going into the lake. As I turned round, the definition on that peak was incredible. Oh, it was beautiful. But I couldn't get any foreground interest. If I come out too wide, I ended up getting some of the road in. So it's a little bit flat, but it was, yeah. I think you know, when you get the opportunity to take the shot, take it.
Yeah.
Even if it's not perfect, take it, because as I've walked along here, the clouds moved over and it's gone. It's changing though all the time. That ridge on the far side is coming up as well. Now it's just presented itself.
Yeah.
The trees and that rock.
So we were going to head up to Llyn Gwynant. Looks like we're not now. So stick around, see what happens.
I didn't know you was recording again.
Now this in particular is a really handy park and shoot location. If you come down the road between Capel Curig and Beddgelert, it brings you right alongside the lake. We're parked literally 20 metres from where we've spent the last couple of hours. So a really good park and shoot location. Well, another hour has gone by and it's absolutely incredible. You know you're having a good time with a mate, but you end up with about 20 minutes of neither of us saying anything because we're far too busy. This has just been absolutely bonkers this morning. I've probably got 50 images that I'd be quite happy to share with you. I'm not going to do that, don't panic. But whereas in previous vlogs, I've been quite careful with what I process and what I share with you, today, every shot is a keeper. It's absolutely stunning. I'm sure Darren will agree, and you'll need to have a look at his vlog, because sure as eggs is eggs, he's going to have dozens of absolutely jaw-dropping images to share as well. But we're still here, we're still hanging about. We'd thought about leaving about 2 hours ago to go down to Llyn Gwynant, but that idea got completely abandoned because, you know, I could easily have 3 cameras on the go at once and be getting portfolio shots all over the place. Darren pointed out that there are worse places to hang round, and we're doing a fair bit of hanging round at the moment. What's happened is there's a ridge of trees on the far side of the lake with a lovely rocky bluff underneath it, and every so often those trees just clear the mist enough to get a bit of definition on them. So I got myself set up, got my foreground shot, which is the 3 rocks or 4 rocks in the lake, but I was making coffee for Darren while it was clear.
Don't blame me.
And then all of a sudden it's clagged up again and we're having to wait. But
Well, I didn't have to wait, I got the shot.
can I borrow your background and
It
blend
was
it?
delicious coffee, thank you ever so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's this is a really good example of when you really do have to wait it out, and at some point it will clear up, and the whole point of the composition is the trees with the mist behind them, not in front of them. So we'll see how it goes.
Another coffee?
Yeah, another coffee.
Another coffee.
Oh, look at that. Not enough mist. Unbelievable. So now what's happened is that the mist that was sitting behind the tree line has completely cleared. So we've still got the foreground rocky outcrop shrouded in mist, so not enough definition there. This could be a portfolio image if only the conditions would play ball. And I've probably said that more than once in the past. Well, we've just made an executive decision that involves beer and cheeseburgers. So we're going to leave it here for this one. And as I mentioned earlier, there's probably going to be way more images than I would normally have, but I'm just going to put them up as a gallery because it's been completely outstanding this morning. Just one of those red letter days. And I'm so glad I had a good mate with me to share it with, because our hobby can be a little bit solitary at times. We like to get out and about and be by ourselves, but on a morning like this, it's been double special to be with somebody. So I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, why not subscribe now and join me next time. Cheers.